Hi there, and welcome to the September 2023 edition of Fraud Watch Friday. I'm John Wurzer, your AARP Fraud Watch volunteer. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone that you can find more information on the things that I will talk about today and a host of other fraud and scam issues at aarp.org/fraudwatch network or by calling the AARP Fraud Helpline at 877-908-3360. During today's podcast, we're going to talk about getting data breach notifications and how to understand what they're saying and what you should do if you get one, how to freeze your credit, and a little bit about credit monitoring services. So my guess is most of you who are watching this podcast have gotten one of these letters in the mail sometime in the last 4 or 5 years. And it'll start out saying something like, "Dear Joe Schmo, XYZ company was recently notified by ABC Research Services that your personal information was involved in a data security event." And it will go on to tell you exactly how much of your personal information was at risk because of this event, up to and including your social security number. And usually with one of these letters, they will also send another piece of paper that says steps you can take to protect your personal information, because they didn't. What we're going to talk about today, one of those steps is called freezing your credit. And let's talk a little bit about freezing your credit. I used to get these letters and I would say, freeze my credit? I'm not going to freeze my credit. I don't want to do that. I don't even know what happens if I do that. So eventually I looked into it and I was so wrong. Freezing your credit doesn't stop you from buying anything or doing anything. What it does stop is from anyone, including yourself, applying for new credit cards, new loans, mortgages, car loans, etc., unless you go and unfreeze your credit. And once you get the credit freeze process set up, freezing and unfreezing your credit is a 5-minute exercise. So having discovered that I was so wrong about this, I still wasn't motivated to go freeze my credit because it just sounded like it was going to be time consuming and scary. But then eventually, however, various members of our household got 6 of these data breach letters in less than a 2-month period. And I decided it's time for me to bite the bullet, sit down, and figure out how to freeze my credit. So the first thing that I did, and the first thing that you should do, is go to aarp.org, just the main page of the AARP website, because you can figure out how to do almost anything on the AARP website, because you just go to the right-hand side and click on the little magnifying glass on the website, and it will bring up a search box. And in that search box, you can type the words freeze credit. And then you hit search. And up on your screen will come a list of articles. And the second article on that search screen will be called How to Check Your Credit Score and Your Credit Report. And now you're sitting there going, I thought we were talking about freezing my credit. Well, in order to freeze your credit, you have to have a login to all 3 of the major credit reporting websites. And those are the same websites that you go to see your credit score and check your credit. But the first thing you'll want to do is read this article on how to check your credit score and your credit report, because it will also talk about freezing your credit. And it should set your mind at ease about this entire process. And once you've gotten through this entire article and you've read it and you understand it, go to the gray section that is called Credit Score Basics. And in that gray section, they will lead you to, there's a link to a website called annualcreditreport.com. And if you click on that, up will come this website that, because they were required to by law, the 3 major credit reporting agencies support. And that website is kind of like a one-stop place to go to set up accounts for all 3 and check your credit report on all 3. So what you'll want to do when you're there is click request your free credit reports. And then up will come another screen where you have to click another button that says request your credit reports. I guess they want to be sure you absolutely want to do this. And once you do that, it will start taking you to all three of the credit reporting agencies and having you go through the sign up process for a free account with them. A few warnings about going through this process. All of these websites use something called multi-factor or two-factor authentication. And that's when you're trying to log on to a place or you're trying to get something done, and all of a sudden they want to send you a security code on your cell phone via text. And then you just get that security code and you type it in the box and you move on. If you don't have a cell phone, usually they will give you an option to have someone call your home phone with the same security code. If you can't find that option, you can do what we did for my 96-year-old mother-in-law. And when you're signing up on the websites, find somebody who you really trust and use their cell phone number and have them sit next to you, and then you can get through the process as well. Another warning is they are going to ask some questions that ask very specific details about your past life, like places that you've lived, some of them 20 years ago. So if you're a person who's moved around a lot, you might want to have a list of your old addresses around, because they will ask questions like, on the 4 addresses below, which of these addresses have you never lived at? So you're going to want to just brush up on that or have a cheat sheet available. Also, they will ask you some tricky questions that can kind of make you wonder or in my case, almost panic. There's a question they might ask that says, according to our records, you purchased a new automobile sometime in the last 2 years. Which of these makes and models was that automobile? And I said to myself, I never purchased a car. There must be something wrong with my credit report. But usually at the bottom of that page or at the bottom of that question will be a choice for none of the above or does not apply. Just click on that, don't panic, and go on with your life. So once you get through this entire process, and now you've got an account set up at all 3 credit reporting agencies, when you're doing this, don't ask to see your credit report at all 3, because you only get 1 free credit report from each credit reporting agency per year. So you will want to check one of them, but only ask for the report from one. Just set up the account on the other 2. And when you get your credit report, you can see your score, obviously, but I'm not qualified to tell you how to read your credit report, but I can say this: if you see on that credit report a mortgage listed that you owe money on, or a credit card that you owe money on for a house, or a credit card that you don't think you have, then you probably have a problem. And you should call the AARP fraud helpline at 877-908-3360 and ask them what to do. Once you're on, you've got your login now, and you want to log on to the Experian site first. And the first thing that will happen is a big page will come up that says, upgrade your account warning. And they're going to want you to upgrade your account. And then you're going to say, I don't want to do that. But scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's a choice that says, keep the free account that I have. That's what you want to click on. And on the Experian site, you could probably go around with your mouse for 10, 15 minutes looking for a button that says freeze my credit. And you won't find it, because I couldn't, until you go to your account icon over in the corner and go to the Help Center. And in the Help Center, there's a button that says Manage Your Credit Freezes. And it'll give you a choice to freeze your credit, unfreeze your credit, or schedule a credit thaw. A credit thaw is saying, I want my credit unfrozen from this date to that date, which can be very helpful if you want to go apply for a car loan or something, and you don't want to have to remember to go back home and freeze your credit again. On the other 2 sites, TransUnion and Equifax, it's very easy. Once you get logged onto their site, there's a button on the very first page that says freeze or unfreeze your credit or manage credit freezes. It's very easy, and most of them have that same option to only unfreeze your credit for a certain time period. So check your score, check your credit report from one site, freeze all your credit. It's the right thing to do. Also, in these credit breach, data breach letters, they will often, almost always now, say, because we're so sorry that this happened, we're going to offer you free for a certain period of time a credit monitoring service with JKL Credit Monitoring Services Company for a period of a year or 2 years. And you can sign up for those if you want. But just like all these free things that I'm talking about, and when you're setting up your accounts at the credit reporting agencies, if the screen ever asks you to put a credit card number in, you probably are in the wrong place, and you should back out and start over and try to get to a place where it really is free. On credit monitoring services, if you're going to sign up for one, they shouldn't ask for your credit card just to get you to sign up for a free service, because if they're doing that, they're probably planning on billing you automatically when the service expires. So just be careful of that. Also, be careful that if you sign up for a credit monitoring service, get ready for a slew of emails to come in. Your credit score can change by 1 point, and you'll get an email about it. Also, they will send you 4, 5, 6, 7 emails a week offering you enhanced paid services. So just make sure you know what you're getting into, but it's not a bad idea to have a monitoring service, because then you don't have to check your credit score on a regular basis. So in summary, don't be afraid. Take the plunge, freeze your credit. Even if you've never gotten a data breach letter, if you're not actively seeking to apply for credit anywhere, it's a good idea to freeze your credit. Check your credit score regularly. Check your credit report 3 times a year, once at each agency, and you'll never run out of free reports. So I hope that helps. And in summary, let me remind you, we're always looking for more Fraud Watch volunteers. So if you'd like to join us in our efforts to stamp out scams and fraud, you can contact us via email at ksaarp@aarp.org or via phone 866-448-3619 and ask for Mary. So that's all we've got this week. Always remember and never forget, if you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam.